Carthage is published by SAS Creative. This is a 2 to 5 player game, plays in about 30 to 60 minutes, and this is a deck builder at its core. This game is where you're fighting. If you've ever seen the movie Gladiator, this is basically what you're doing. You're in the arena and you're going against other players and you're basically trying to kill them and take out their full armor. But in doing that, you're gonna have to use your favor and just very strategic movements and trying to build the perfect deck, trying to get the other players to basically die. The card play is what really makes this game unique, with the decisions you have to make instead of just rolling some dice like a lot of these combat-driven games. The first phase in this game is the theater phase, and this is basically a card that's turned over at the beginning of every round. And what this will do is this will give you, either favor or certain combat elements, or you can't use this or something like that. It's something that changes up the game from round to round. And then also you're able to manipulate that deck, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now you're gonna draw 5 cards like most deck builders, but in this one you're gonna be playing them one at a time. So for instance, I would be playing a card and the person to my left will be playing one card, and then so forth around the table. It's very interesting and gives a lot of strategy of what you want to play and what timing you want to play it. When you set up the board, you're going to be putting a gladiator on the edge, depending on how many players there is. It might be a little tight, or if you're playing about 2 players, you are going to sit basically across the board. You're going to basically try to fight for ground, move to the middle, and really work your way around different players to try to get in those quick attacks. When you set up the board, you're going to have these little tokens. Some of them might be extra favor, some of them might be extra armor, extra movement. If you're on it, you can actually take another stab if there's an adjacent player. It really gives a lot of random gameplay depending on the different tokens that you use. But you will use, I think, 4 more tokens in each game. Now each action card is going to have some different elements to it. The first one is you're going to have some boots, and those are basically going to be your movement. Usually it's about 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 spaces, especially in your starting cards. You're not going to have a lot of movement, but you're going to have to build that up. The next one is favor. Favor is very, very important. You're going to have a favor track on your board, on your player board, and then you're going to use that favor to buy things. So building favor is very important. The next one is you are going to have blood splatter, and what that blood splatter is, basically you're hitting people. So again, at the beginning you're not going to have a lot of them as far as big hits, but as you get to progress in the game, that blood splatter is going to get bigger, and you're going to really knock a lot of people out. There's another blood splatter, but it has a white splatter on the back of it, and what that means is if you actually attack somebody, you're going to get a strike bonus. And the strike bonus could be armor or favor or different things, but you're not going to be able to get that unless there's someone adjacent to you to hit. There's also a green token on there, or a green element, and what that does is that gives you armor. Armor is the biggest thing. You think you start with 15 in this game, and then you can either work your way up or you're going to be working your way down. And obviously the person, when they're out of armor, they're dead. There's also knockbacks. Knockbacks are just basically when you hit somebody, they're going to get knocked back a space from you. So that will actually help you out if you need to kind of strike and then move away. And then we come to my favorite phase of the game, the favor phase. And this is where you've been building up favor, and now you're going to take that favor and you're going to buy stuff. The major thing is you're going to buy cards. Cards are worth favor. So you're going to have a little element at the top there, it's in yellow. You're going to buy those cards and then actually put those into your deck, and then that's where the deck building comes from. These cards are all very important because they're going to build up your stats. The starting cards are okay, but you're really going to need these to win. The next thing that's actually on the main board itself is there's 4 different spots. The first one is the initiative one, and what that does is that's going to give you the initiative token to be first, and being first in this game is very important because again, you're going to want to strike first, and it comes down to whether you might have a couple of life points and the other person might have a couple of life points. You're obviously going to want to be first to strike. The next space is called focus. Now this is where you can actually, in most deck builders, you can weed through your deck, get rid of those starting cards and get rid of the bad ones that you don't really want anymore. So basically you can get rid of a card from your discard pile and put it in this focus group. and then you can actually optimize your deck for the future. The next space is evaluate, and what this does is you can actually swipe the 5 cards that are there for buying to get new cards out, and then you can actually pick another card if you have the favor to do it. And the last space you can use favor on is called lobby, and what this does is those theater cards that might be important to you but maybe not important to other players, you can kind of fish through that discard pile that you basically already use, and you can put that theater deck card on top. But if other people decide to do that too, then you could have some different ways of playing and manipulating that deck in order to basically put that in your favor. And after everybody is wiped out by your sword or your cards, you are going to win the game, and that is it. It is super easy to learn, and like it says, easy to learn, but easy to die. Now, since this is a Kickstarter, I will not do a full review of this, but I will give you a couple thoughts of what I think. As far as the easy to learn, easy to die aspect, that is very true. If you want to get someone into a deck builder that maybe is a little wary of deck builders or just don't understand them, this is a very easy one to grasp. This kind of is that in between where it's like, maybe I've played some kind of very casual games, and then it's like, oh, I want to maybe get to something a little bit heavier. This actually bridges that gap in between, so you can have different elements of a deck builder without going crazy and with all the different text that's on cards that gets a little finicky, and basically manipulating your cards and using these different combos. This is very stripped down, and it actually makes for really cool and simple gameplay. The other thing I like is that you're not just using your favor for cards, you're also using them to manipulate the theater deck, to wipe the action cards, to able to get the initiative token, which is very important, which a lot of deck builders don't do. So again, that's something that's a little bit different than most deck builders. Also, like I said at the beginning, if you like the movie Gladiator, you're gonna love this. If you like combat-driven games, if you like that historic kind of feeling games, you're really gonna like this. And if you like miniatures, you're gonna like this too. They're gonna get a miniature for your player instead of just a cube or a meeple. You're gonna have something to actually look at, and it's gonna look cool on the table, I think. All right, guys, I'm going to link the Kickstarter link in the description. So if you would like to please preview this on Kickstarter, check it out, and back it if you like this type of game. Please support these guys. I think this is their first game, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to be bringing next. And as always, stay thirsty for games, my friends. Bye-bye.